What up, y'all? It's the Real Ball Watcher. Grab your binoculars, and I'm back with another video. Free agency was today. So, I'm going to just tell y'all my true thoughts with a little bit of film attached. I did watch the film on most of these guys. There's only 4 guys, but that's a lot of moves. 4 guys that we got. I watched the film on, especially in the roles, not every single play, but the roles that I think we're specifically going to use them in. And I'm going to let you know how I feel about it. I'm going to let you know the grade. I'm going to let you know what I've seen, and we're going to go from there. So let's get into it. Now, I will have to acknowledge the malpractice in reporting that was this whole Milton Williams situation. I don't know who was the main reporter that reported it first, saying we got him. It might have been Schefter. I don't know. But that kind of put a bad taste in everybody's mouth for the rest of the day. Pause. But it is what it is. I mean, I believe we had Milton Williams at 20 a year. Y'all know I was closer to the 17, 18 in that Ed Oliver tier. 20 would have been a slight overpay for me, but I was cool with it. And then the Patriots decided, hey, we're going to overpay him by like $11 million. And at the end of the day, is what it is. Is what it is. So you just got to take your L. But we pivoted, and I feel like we pivoted well. So y'all know I'm still holding out hope for Travon Holland. So we're going to see if that happens on day 2 or whatever day, and we'll talk about it when it get there. But we're going to talk about these guys in order from most money. And shout out my guy, Trajen Moehrig. This is kind of the safety splash that I had us getting. And I feel like we can still get 2 of them now that we don't have to pay Milton Williams $20 to $26 million. But Trajen Moehrig, basically, he's going to be that Jeremy Chin role that we missed. That thumping, thudding, strong safety, a guy that's going to be able to play in the box, basically be your nickel / linebacker. They have him listed at free safety. I know he played a lot of free safety when we first got in here. His best role is to stay close to the line, help in the run game, cover some tight ends in blitz. I think if we're using him outside of that role, this grade goes down immediately to like a D. But if we use him in a correct role, strong safety, nickel, linebacker type of role, let him come down and blitz, let him come down and make plays in the run game, I think this is a perfect signing for what we need to help our run defense. We had the worst pass rush and the worst run defense in the league. I think we allowed like 3,000 rushing yards last year. So we need guys outside of just your defensive linemen. We need linebackers. We need second-level defenders that can help in the run game. And Dave Canales mentioned that at the combine when he talked about safety. So when we look at a guy like Trajen Moehrig, looking at his snap count, most of his snaps was in the slot, in linebacker alignment, and then the rest of them was at free safety. It's kind of 50-50 split, 222 in the slot, 216 at linebacker, and then 485 at free safety. Hopefully, we can get that free safety number down with another guy that we signed, and then most of his snaps 500, 600 snaps can be at that strong safety slot, linebacker alignment, whatever. So moving on, I mean, just looking at his just base stats, I mean, 43 run stops, which is tied for 9th in the whole NFL from all DBs, not just safety, all DBs, period. He had 8 hustle plays, or hustle stops, I should say, and stops is basically tackles at the line of scrimmage or behind, so TFLs and for tackles for no gain. As a blitzer, he had 61 pass rush snaps. That could be blitzes or just lining up at edge and going. And he had 21% pressure rate on all those snaps. So he also had a 1 sack this year and 13 pressures. So I think this is a good box type of guy. If we're taking him out the box, it immediately becomes bad. But he's only 24 or 25 years old. Upside is there. He finally got moved into his correct position this year, and he started to break out. So I think it's only up from here if you play him in the correct position. It's simple as that. So I want to say it was 3 years, 51 million, something around there. Let me make sure I got my facts right. Yeah, 3 years, 51 million, about 17 a year. I'm not mad at that. That's around what I had us getting Travon Holland for in my video. That's your big safety splash. Hopefully we can get another one. And yeah, I like the signing. I'm going to go ahead and give it a B. I'm going to give it a B+. Because honestly, I haven't mentioned his coverage. His coverage isn't good. He's not a guy that you want in coverage. He's not going to make a whole bunch of plays on the ball. He's not going to be super sticky in man coverage. He had 2 interceptions. He allowed 4 touchdowns. Only 249 yards allowed. But he was only targeted 39 times and he allowed 24 catches. So coverage just isn't necessarily his thing when it comes to man-to-man. But if you get him in that hook zone, things like that in the box, I think he'll be just fine. Getting him on tight ends, he'll be just fine. So moving on to the next guy. I like this sign. I'm going to give it a B+, or let's just say a B. Now, Trajen Warton, I ain't going to lie. I've been up and down on this. When it first happened, I was like, we got to see. As I turned on the tape, when it first started, I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to put out a tweet saying, hey, I gotta walk back any. I didn't necessarily say anything bad. I just said I gotta wait and see the cap, which I did. 3 years, 45 million. Everything else is in bonuses, so about 15 a year. Okay, money, not necessarily a crazy overpay or anything like that. He was getting 15 million from somebody else. Don't get it confused. If you've seen these other guys that's been signed, Chase Young getting 15 and a half or 16, Harold Landry getting 15. Both of those guys have the same production or worse production and have worse film, Harold Landry speaking, than Trajen Warton did as a pass rusher. But in the role that we got him in, this defensive or the basically a DPR, a guy that's only going to come in on pass rush downs and go get it. I mean, when you look at his snap count, last year he had 627 snaps. Only 190 of those was on run defense. He was a decent run defender. He had 29 stops, which is cool. He had 23 stops on 29 tackles, which is but 426 of his snaps was pass rush. He had an 8 or 9% pass rush. 8% pressure percentage, not pass rush anymore, right? Pressure percentage. 8.5 sacks or 9 sacks, including if you include the postseason, 6.5 in the regular season. He led the team in sacks overall for regular season and postseason. Came in second behind 1.5 sack for the regular season. More sacks than Chris Jones. I understand he's not the focal point, but when I'm watching him, I'm like, all right, this is good. Like, when I'm watching guys, I want to see you win with moves. I want to see you win on your own. You're not getting stunts to get open. The guys leave you unblocked, and now, or somebody else is winning, and the QB has to step up, run out, and now you're just running away from your offensive lineman to go get the sack or something like that, or get a pressure. I don't want to see that. He wasn't doing that. He was winning a lot. He had a lot of surprisingly power. He is a much smaller dude, so I kind of could see him being this finesse rusher that only is speed and trying to get around guys. But yeah, good enough speed to power. I've seen him walk Robert Hunt back. Seen him walk Linderbaum. I want to say, is it Linderbaum on the Baltimore Ravens center? I've seen him walk back Landon Dickerson a little bit to get a sack. So he has decent speed to power. He has such quick feet that guys are kind of, he's giving guys a bunch of, shakes at the line, and he just gets his hand in your chest and blows you or bull rushes you back, and it's working. But he also has super quick hands. He's able to swipe hands away. I've seen him try to use a little bit of a chop club to get across, not necessarily a cross chop, but kind of like a club and chop around to get around the guy, and it worked a little bit. He got to get a little bit better at finishing plays, but just the interior pressure in general is what matters, and he did it. He had 35 pressures. Like I said, 6.5 sacks. I was somewhat impressed. Now, he does have those fake sacks that I talked about, where it's like, hey, the quarterback just ran into you and you're not necessarily doing anything, but there's a lot of good sacks on this film, too. I'm not sure how I feel about this yet. This has the potential to backfire, and that's what I kept saying. I was like, I don't know. I feel like in a year, we figure out, hey, he's not next to Chris Jones. It's going to be SOL. We're going to feel like we wasted our money. It's still there. But from what I've seen, if he's one-on-one, if he's getting one-on-one reps, he's going to win most of the time. I'm not going to lie. And I've seen a chart on Twitter. Shout out to Slick. He said it. The chart kind of proved what I said. When he was getting double teamed, he was not existent. He wasn't there. But if he got a one-on-one opportunity, he won most of the time. So I think it's important to get a bookend edge rusher to take attention away from those guys, because Derrick Brown, most of the attention hopefully or should be going to Derrick Brown. He's a superstar or a star. So you're most likely going to get one-on-ones, but you don't want him getting chipped or anything slid over. So you got to get another edge that also draws attention away so guys can get more one-on-ones. And I think if we do that, if he's able to get one-on-ones, he's going to produce like he did last year or somewhere close to it. And I think this is a good compensation prize for the pass rush part of Milton Williams. Of course, it's not Milton Williams, but it is a good consolation prize. And I'm not mad at the contract. I'm going to go ahead and give it a grade. I'm going to say C+ to B-. The upside is there, but I can also see where it's going to be bad. I'll say B-, but lean into a C+ in between there, somewhere in there. But I liked it a lot more than I thought I would before I watched the tape. So let's get into the next guy. Now, I think this is the best signing we had. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you the grade up front. A+. Bobby Brown III, playing with his nose, whatever you want to call it. Shout out to him, new addition, to the team. I gotta say this is A+. He's 24 years old. He's a nose tackle. He's getting paid $7 million. He's here to stop D-run. We finally have a traditional nose tackle. I think he's 328 pounds, 6'4", has almost 35-inch arms. He's going to be able to separate from the center, get him off of him, and make plays in the run game. If you look at his snaps last year, 454 snaps, most snaps in his career. Only 190 of them was pass rush. 256 was run defense. I would like to see it to be a lot more lopsided towards the run defense, but this is a guy that you're just going to bring in to stop the run. 30 run stops last year, which is a pretty good. He was in the 50s. He was like 59 or 61 first or something like that. But he doesn't play a lot of snaps. All we need is him to get in there, clog up the middle, make plays here and there, make sure that the center or whoever's chipping him, double teaming him, is not able to climb to the linebacker. Gap and a half, the 2 gap, he's able to do that. He's shown that on the Rams. He can also move the 3 technique or 2-eye if you need him to and play run defense from there. But simple as that, I don't got much to say. This is a guy that you're going to bring in only for run defense downs. He's going to stop the run. We needed a nose tackle. That's why our defense was so bad at stopping the run. This is your nose tackle. I'm leaving it at that. A+ signing for me. Now, last signing that we did of the day, Patrick Jones. I was ready to come in here and give this an F. But after the numbers came out, it's around the same money that we gave Bobby Brown, 7.5 or $7 million. I can give it a D-. A D. I can give it a D. Straight up D. Pause. This is a guy who's a DPR, designated pass rusher. Last year, he had 435 snaps. Only 108 of them was on run defense. 300 of them was pass rush down. So, if you see people talking about how good his run defense grade is, true, it is good, but he only played 100 snaps on run defense. He was mostly a DPR. So, if you think you're going to bring him in and he's going to be your edge setter to start the year, kind of like be your early down guy, that's not necessarily what he was used for in Minnesota. Now, he did have 7 sacks. He did have 30 pressures, 10% pressure rate. I watched the tape. I feel like it was misleading. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier when it came to Trajen Warton and how he won with moves and stuff. I think this guy was just simply a stunt. They left me unblocked. I'm running into the quarterback on accident type of guy. Simple as that. I hope I can end up being wrong, but I don't want to keep going and harping on it. I'm going to give it a D-. That's all I got for you. Yeah, so that's going to be the first day of free agency. Hopefully we can get Jevon Holland or some type of free safety. I guess Julian Blackmon. I got to watch a little more Julian Blackmon's game. I'm not too familiar, but I really need a Jevon Holland. But I think we set ourselves up well to go BPA. Not best defensive player available, best edge available, or anything like that. BPA as in we might even be able to take a receiver. Maybe even take a tight end, somebody like that. I think we filled a lot of holes, which is what you want to do in free agency. So you could just take the best guys in the draft. I'm happy. I'm cool with the first day of free agency. After an overall grade, if I'm going with, let's say 80 to 79. So I'll say a C+ to a B-, somewhere in there. Two really signings I like a lot. One signing that I'm still apprehensive about. I need to see it. But I'm feeling a lot more optimistic. And one signing I just don't like. But I love how it set us up for the draft. And I'm ready to see where we go from here. Let me know if y'all want to see a day 2 video or if you want to see more signings, me grading them with the film and all that stuff, showing what I've seen. Let me know in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, do all this YouTube stuff. It's been a Robot Watcher. I'm out. Maybe even see you sometime this week.